Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I come down to the floor to join my colleagues in expressing concerns over maybe well-intended but poorly constructed policy in the Green New Deal. But I want to start, first I want to start by saying I have no intention of yielding until the end of my remarks. But the one question that I would have for people across the aisle, do you actually support the Green New Deal? Do you support it in the form that has been proposed? I can't imagine that you do, because you understand the math, you understand the challenges, you understand the reality that $65,000 a year is the median household income in North Carolina. So what we're talking about, the cost of this bill over 10 years is roughly what the average North Carolinian family makes. We know that's not sustainable. We know it's not sustainable to have our electric bills increase by $3,800 a year. We know it's not sustainable to go beyond just the energy components of the Green New Deal to other aspects of the Green New Deal. It just don't make sense. So $93 trillion is something I can't get my head wrapped around. I know that's the number that we're talking about. But I think we can get to the household impact and recognize it's not sustainable, right? So why are we having this discussion? This bill, as proposed, doesn't work. Now, I want to go back and tell you, as a member of the North Carolina House, when I was in the minority as a Republican, I supported the renewable portfolio standard. I went to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle and said, what you're proposing is not sustainable. Let's work together and do something different. And we did. That gave rise to almost 13% of all the energy generated in North Carolina today being generated from renewable sources. It gave rise to a sustainable electric bill that's one of the most competitive in the country. So what's happened with the new Green Deal is that the people at the extreme are preventing those of us who actually want to make progress from having a reasonable discussion. Instead, we're shouting over each other. I don't care if it's 93 trillion, 43 trillion, or 10 trillion. It's unsustainable. We could sit here and question the sources, but at the end of the day, we all know that this was theater. This was something that people wanted to pitch. They wanted to win an election, but it was a dishonest promise that could never be fulfilled. If you take a look at the other provisions of this bill, guaranteed jobs, I mean, it's reading like some sort of a socialist manifesto. And as somebody who grew up in a trailer park, who didn't get a degree until I was 36 years old, I want an America that gives me an opportunity. Not an America that tells me what my job is and how much money I'm going to make. So we've got to have a realistic discussion about the new Green Deal. We are pushing people into corners and not having a good discussion about things that we should be making progress on. And by the way, just out of levity, we've even had some people go so far as to say maybe we should reduce the number of cows on the planet since they create methane gas. I'm not going to get into the gross reasons why. So maybe the chicken caucus is in favor of getting rid of cows or eating more cows, but why don't we just lower the temperature, recognize we have a proposal here that doesn't work, recognize that it was generally motivated by politics, and when you take such an extreme stand, you should expect the other side to come to the floor, just as we're doing today, and make it real. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Senator from Missouri.